Welcome everybody to the first Four Wheel Frenzy pre-race press conference with the WMX class here at Ironman Raceway. Now, just in case people are not familiar with the WMX class like they would be the pro class, I'm going to have everybody kind of introduce themselves before we get into the questions. So go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Mediane Trinck and I'm from Quebec, Canada. I have 19 years old and I race in WMX with the number 81.
Awesome.
Hi, I'm India Jacques. I'm from Quebec. I'm 24 years old and I race WMX with number 64.
Hi, I'm Tegan Bratcher. I am 16 and I am from New Mexico. I race the WMX and the women's class and I'm number 24.
Awesome. Now we'll go ahead and keep the microphone with you. Obviously, all the WMX women rode the track here at Ironman today. So kind of right away to get started, what are your initial thoughts on the track here at Ironman?
Well, they did make some changes from last year to this year. The track's a little bit shorter, but I mean, with the track being shorter, it's a lot more funner, less jumps, but it's still a fast track.
Okay. Now, and how many years have you ridden in the WMX class?
This is actually my first year.
Your first year in WMX, and what did you race nationals last year?
Yes, sir.
What class did you race in last year?
Last year I rode the schoolgirl and also the women's class.
Okay, and now obviously this is the third round for the WMX class. How are you sitting so far this season in points?
I'm sitting in the top 5. I'd like to be in the top 3 for sure, but I've never raced some of these girls, so it's kind of a little bit of competition.
All right, so your top 5, you're trying to get at least in the top 3. What are you going to do differently, from the last 2 races to get up to that top 3?
Last 2 races had some bad starts, so this year I'm going to this race I'm going to try working on good starts, taking different lines, hitting jumps that nobody else is hitting.
Okay, so you're just going to go a little more extreme and see what happens?
Yes, sir.
Okay, well, thank you for your time and answering the questions. And so, first of all, what's your initial thoughts here at Ironman MX?
I've never been here before, so I like the track. There's 2 big jumps, but other than that, there's no other jumps. It's more on ground speed, and we'll need to work on that, but I love the track.
Okay, and also again, as an introduction to the WMX class with a press conference, is this your first year running the WMX class?
No, my first one, I did one round at Budds Creek in 2023.
Okay, and then did you run the complete series in 2024?
No, I did the 3 last rounds.
Just the 3 last rounds?
Yeah.
Okay, and how did you do in your races that you have done in the WMX class?
This year I'm doing the whole series, I think, and I think I'm sitting in the 6th position.
Okay.
I would like to go on the box for a round, and we'll need to work on some speed and.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what do you feel like you need to do different to get to where you want to be?
Ground speed and do big jumps, I think. I'm not I need to work on jumps, and I need to have more speed overall.
Okay. And is that something you're going to work on here this weekend, or something you feel like you need to work on more in between race rounds?
I'll work on that this weekend, and between races, I race the QXNE series in New England, so I can practice there. And other than that, I don't have a track at home in Quebec, and in Quebec in general, there's no track for us, so near my home, so yeah.
All right, so it's time to just pull the trigger and go for it.
Yeah.
All right, well, I appreciate that, and thank you for answering
Thank
the questions. Yeah. So here we are at Ironman Raceway. What are your initial thoughts on the track?
The track is very cool. I love the track. It's a fast track and it's a hard track, so it's better for me.
Is this your first time riding at Ironman?
Yes, my first time.
It is.
Yeah.
Now, is this your first year in the WMX class?
Yes, but it's my first year here at the National. I make my first race at Lake Sugar Tree.
Okay, so Lake Sugar Tree is your first American race in general.
Last year I raced at the QXNE series.
Okay.
But at the National.
At the National Series.
Yeah.
Okay, absolutely. And now you raced Lake Sugar Tree. How did you finish at Lake Sugar Tree?
9 in WMX.
9th. Okay. And what's your goal for this year?
We're gonna make some national, not all, but some.
Okay.
And I would like to make a top 10.
Top 10. And what do you see that you need to do to make that top 10 finish?
Have more speed on the ground and jump very more.
Okay.
Practice my corner.
Now you race back home as well?
What?
Do you race back in Canada as well?
Yes, I do some race, but we're gonna try to make more race in USA.
Is there a big difference that you see racing here as compared to back home in Canada?
Yes, the girls here are very fast than the Quebec, and all the track is different. Like, we don't have MX track like they have here.
Okay.
And the track come very more rough and hard than Quebec.
Okay. And so it's completely different terrain. The tracks are completely different as well. So you're essentially in a completely new element here. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Awesome. Well, thank you for your time and answering the questions.
Okay.
All right, so we have our next 3 WMX riders here. So would you like to go ahead and introduce yourself?
I'm Shelby Cabrando.
Ashley Brick.
And I'm Olivia Joyner.
All right, Olivia, and since you got the microphone, we'll just start with you right away. Obviously, we're at Ironman Raceway, and this is the 3rd round for WMX. First of all, what do you think of the track?
It's different from last year. I mean, I didn't get to ride it last year because I was sick, but I definitely find it's quick. It's rough. It's a pretty good mixed track. I like it a lot.
Okay. Olivia, last year you raced the WMX class as well, correct?
Yeah.
Where did you finish in points last year?
I finished 3rd. I would have probably had 2nd if I had been able to race the last race. I had fractured my back in practice, so I couldn't race. But
that's a good reason to skip.
Yeah.
So what is your goal for 2025 then?
I'd love to be top 3 again.
Okay.
That's really all the goals I have, and just to have fun and live it up.
And what are you going to do to achieve that goal for 2025?
I've been mentally preparing myself more this year and working out more. I definitely prepared myself better for this year physically, and just keep putting seat time in. It's really how I'm going to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you for answering the questions. So obviously you rode here at Ironman again today. What are your thoughts on the track?
I like it. Like Olivia said, it is different than last year. It's fast. I don't think it gets as rough as it did last year.
That's it?
Yeah.
Okay. So obviously, they did change the track. What are your thoughts on this year's track compared to last year?
I like last year's a lot better, but
and if I remember correctly, you got some hole shots here last year, correct?
yeah, I got both hole shots.
Got both hole shots. Are you going to keep that up this year?
I'm gonna try.
All right. And then where did you finish last year in points?
7th.
7th. And what's your goal for 2025?
My goal is top 5.
Top 5. How are you going to get there?
I've been trying to ride at least once a week, every weekend. So.
Okay.
Yep.
So we're just
That
going
in
to get
the
seat
gym,
time
yeah.
and get some speed and make it
Yep.
happen. All right. Well, thank you for answering.
Thank
You rode here at Ironman today. What are your thoughts on the track?
I like the track. It seems like it's going to be a pretty fast track. I think I do prefer last year's layout a little bit better because it was a little bit of a longer lap. So if you get a bad hole shot, you don't get as much lap time to make your way up to the front of the pack. But I think overall it's going to end up pretty fast track tomorrow.
Okay. And last year you rode WMX as well. Where did you finish in points last year?
Last year I finished in 4th. I think I was 1 point off of 3rd. So it was a battle up until the end.
So 2nd, 3rd, and 4th was pretty close in the points. All right. And what's your goal for 2025?
I definitely made a top 3.
Top 3?
That's been the big goal for the last 2 years.
Okay. have you done anything, and what are your plans to make that happen this year?
I think this year's plan's like a different mindset. My parents always say I ride better angry, so all my work frustrations and daily life frustrations, I'm just going to take it all out on the track.
All right, so you just need to get mad and you'll make it happen. All right, well, thank you for your time and answering the questions.
Thanks.
All right, so we got our last round of WMX riders. Would you like to go ahead and introduce yourselves?
Yeah, my name's Kinsey Osborne, and I'm from Nashport, Ohio.
I'm Emma Ray, and I'm from Ireland.
All right, Emma, we'll start with you right away since you have the microphone. You know, you are from Ireland, as you just said, and this is your first year racing in the United States as a whole, which we'll get back to that. But you rode here at Ironman Raceway today. What are your thoughts on the track?
Yeah, it's awesome. It's the biggest jumps I've hit in my life, so that was pretty cool. It's a lot more rutted and stuff than I thought it was going to be. Obviously, I've just been like stalking YouTube videos, I thought it was going to be a lot more slick in the turns, so I'm excited to see how the pros kind of cut the track up tomorrow.
Okay, and obviously, again, first year being here, everything like that, how do the tracks here in the United States compare to in Ireland?
They don't. In Ireland, like all our tracks are quite like small. I'm used to riding slick surfaces, mainly like gravelly stones, so it's like really, really polished. And we don't have jumps. I've never hit rollers. I've never hit whoops. As I said, that's the biggest jump I've ever hit in my life. So, it's all new. Everything's new.
All right, and I know you guys do supermoto racing in Ireland as well. Have you done supermoto?
I did one year of the winter series. I think I was like top 3, and then I absolutely destroyed my motor, so I didn't get to finish the series. But it's not really a big thing back home.
Okay. Now with the track, how it hardens up a little bit throughout the day, do you feel like some of that experience would help out once the track gets hard and a little bit blue grooved?
I'm looking forward to getting like onto the polished surfaces. That's kind of what I'm used to riding. The ruts, the deep ruts and tram lines is all new to me, so like I'm still trying to find, like I keep like blowing the berms and messing up all the corners, but it's a new experience and it's definitely going to make me better for riding back home.
Okay. And now you have a background with CrossFit competition as well, correct?
Yep.
Now, I did have a question submitted from a viewer here, and it was, is your training any different for motocross than what it is for the CrossFit Games?
Obviously, I had wrist surgery in December, so my training's been hugely different in general than it's ever been in the last 10 years. But I have took out a lot of the Olympic lifting and the kind of like the kipping gymnastics, and I don't walk on my hands nearly as much as I used to. I'm just trying to save obviously my shoulders and my hands and stuff from blistering by doing too much gymnastics. So yeah, very little gymnastics, a lot more strength and conditioning.
Okay. Now, obviously with the racing ATVMX National Series so far this year in 2025, you and Kinsey both have a win under your belts. Now, what are you going to do? Is there anything that you learned from the last race that you're using to your advantage to capitalize and keep winning in 2025?
I think it's going to be cat and dog all season, so I'm excited for it. But we've got a new motor in for this weekend. We've got a full new setup, so we've did all practices today, trying to get it set up and ready for tomorrow. So we'll see if it pays off or not tomorrow.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much. Now, Kinsey, you rode here at Ironman as well. What were your initial thoughts on the track right away?
Today, the track was a lot different this year than it has been in the past years, and I actually really like the changes. I think it's got a lot of flow. I felt really good out there. From first practice, honestly, I felt really good on the track. I hit a jump that I haven't in past years, and I felt good on that as well. It's been a good practice day, and I'm really excited to race tomorrow.
Okay. So you feel like the changes to the track, you felt comfortable on it right away. Do you feel like that's going to help you right off the bat in your motos tomorrow?
I would say so. Since I have raced this track, I think almost every year I've been racing nationals with Kim here, so I'm pretty used to the layout in general. But like I said, I mean, I feel comfortable on it, and I feel good heading in tomorrow, but I'm still going to go in like not totally bouncing off the walls,
Mhm.
keep some composure and find speed in other places. But
All right. Now, obviously, this is the third round for the WMX class. On the first round, you ended your winning streak that you had going on. At the end of Echikani, when that happens, what were your initial thoughts on that?
honestly, I didn't have many thoughts at all. I hit my head pretty hard.
Fair
but
enough.
I didn't really remember much of it till a few hours after. I mean, it sucks, but I mean, it was bound to happen at some point. I mean, obviously you can't, something like that doesn't last forever. I knew it wouldn't. It sucks. I don't really think about it much at all, though. It doesn't bother me. If anything, it just gives me more motivation to keep pushing for the next round. So.
All right. And obviously, with that being said, and having someone that broke your winning streak that you had going on, and somebody that is now chasing you down for a potential championship contender, how does that make you feel?
It actually makes me feel great. It's really exciting to have that competition. I mean, I would always, like last year in WMX, I would kind of just do my thing out there, and I was still pushing WMX, try to find good lines, more to focus on setting me up for A class, and racing against the boys is what I got most excited for. And now this year I can be excited for both classes, and she's also racing the A class, so it's just constant battles going on in there. So it's really fun, really different, obviously, than last season, but I like it. It is uncomfortable at times, but that's what you need, and it's only going to make us grow and the sport grow, so I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely. Now, last question before we go. What are you going to do? Are you changing anything up to capitalize and get that 4th championship this year?
I just got done with school, college, wrapped that up, so now I'm finally getting time to get back into my normal summer routine of training at my track, although we haven't had good weather the past few weeks. But I am starting to get back in that groove, not really changing much up, I would say, just kind of getting back into the swing of things, and getting more seat time is definitely my priority right now.
Okay, absolutely. Well, thank you for taking your time and answering the questions, and thank you for everyone for being here with this first WMX pre-race press conference. And we will talk to the 3 podium riders tomorrow after motos end and see what their thoughts were on the day. And again, this is the first one, so questions were a little easy. As we follow the WMX class a little bit more, we'll ask them a little more in-depth questions and everything like that. But this has been 4 Wheel Frenzy, and stay tuned. We'll have more coverage soon.